Greetings everyone and welcome. This is episode 118 of Off the Sprue, and in this video I'll be preparing some stowage for the Tamiya SAS Jeep. In the previous video I added some interior detail. Remember those Vickers machine guns that we added, as well as the seats. And in this video I'll be taking it a step further with some stowage. Now there's a lot of individual stowage items, and for me to cover each and every single one of them individually will make for a very long and ineffective video. So I decided to just rather cover some of the most important ones, some of the new products that I use, some of the techniques I haven't used in a while. So in this one we'll be painting and detailing a resin condenser can from Black Dog. I'll be detailing some photo etch sand ladders, and I'll be using burnishing fluid for that. I'll be painting and detailing a World War II ration can, some very fine detail work, and for the first time I also used some of Vallejo's Express Color inks on some of the stowage. And then finally I'll be adding chipping and wood grain effects to a few of the stowage items. But first, word from the sponsor.
I'm Lindy Swart. I'm the owner of Supernova Studio. We are an online store on the Bluff in Durban, South Africa. We sell hobby, arts and crafts products. The fudge is huge. My customers love our fudge. We've got Moddy who makes the fudge every Wednesday here at the office. So it's always fresh and it's always ready to go out. Some of my customers much prefer the fudge to my products. They often speak about my fudge. They say they order products just to get the fudge. We've got a beautiful online store. It's really easy to navigate. If you go onto supernovastudio.durban, you'll find us online.
For the stowage, I chose items from different brands: Italeri, Tamiya, Black Dog, Value Gear, and a few others. And the first item is the very familiar condenser can that you see on the front of SAS Jeeps. And you can also see them on LRDG trucks. And these were, of course, there to prevent the loss of water from the radiator. Now for this, I decided to use the one included in the Black Dog resin kit, and this is very nicely molded as a single piece. And there are these nice dents on the front, perhaps the result of charging through a Luftwaffe airfield gate. For the hose, I decided to use some cable from Tamiya, 0.5mm. And guys, I like using this stuff because there's a wire inside, and you can actually bend this into shape. So perfect for this application. So there's the condenser can. It's been primed with Mr. Hobby. And next I'm going to start with a metal color. For this I'll be using steel. Guys, and this is the curse on my bench. All my steel colors tend to lose their labeling. You can see the same happened on my Alclad bottle. So for some reason I always lose the steel labels. And next I'd like to add some weathering. Let's say a few subtle rust tones, perhaps some dark rust, light rust. Because this can had water in it, it's not too far-fetched to think that there would be some rust. And you've seen me done this before. Just use the sponge technique and then very carefully start applying that light and dark rust colors to the steel. Now, of course, I'll be doing some paint chipping, and with this done, I can now go on to the next step, and that is to apply the chipping medium. And guys, you can look at episode 108. I followed the exact same method that I followed there. So UK Lightstone, the Jeep base color, is next, and I'll also be adding some highlights by lightening this with white and some darker tones by adding some dark earth. Because this is precision work, I'll be using my hardened Steenbeck airbrush available from Supernova Studio. So first, after the chipping medium has been applied, is the coat of light stone, and then also the highlights in the shadow areas added with the hardened Steenbeck airbrush. To paint the hose, I decided to use some tire black from Vallejo Model Air, and this is airbrushed onto that piece of Tamiya cable. Now, with the chipping medium applied and the paint colors on there, and as well as the hose being prepared, I can now start with the paint chipping, those big dents on the front of that can. And this is very easily done with a toothpick, carefully removing some paint after I moisten that area with some tap water. The final step is just to get that hose in there. For that, I'm going to remove this tiny little piece of resin. And as always, drill an anchoring hole. This will make fitting wire to your parts, to radio parts, whatever parts need to be fitted with wires. It makes it so much easier. And there's our completed can. The final step in the process calls for my AK paint markers. In this case, I'm using gunmetal, and this is used just on all the edges where the paint on that can would be chipped. The paint markers are really well suited for this purpose. So very happy with this. It fits the look of our very weathered SAS Jeep, and I can proceed to the next step. Now, the next items to prepare are sand ladders. These can be seen in reference pics, and you also see them in many LRDG photos. You can see they're very darkish, sort of a metal, always on the side of those LRDG trucks. This is a very nice photo etched set from Hauler, and actually two of these are also included in the Black Dark set. They look very different to the modern day ones, so make sure that you follow the instructions on bending these very precisely. First step, of course, is to remove those sand ladder parts from the photo etch frets, and just remove those burrs. Make sure that everything is nice and smooth. And once this is done, I can get my my photo etch bender and then carefully start bending these parts to shape. Now guys, the trick here is to get a matched pair, so make sure that you bend those edges to fit on top of each other. Actually, what I did is I put them on top of each other like that, and then just use a pair of pliers and just finish off the bending. You can see there are two pairs for two Jeeps, and with this done, I can now move on to prepare them. In order to get the base color, I used burnishing fluid. Now this is very effectively used on track links, for instance, and the important thing to remember is to use a plastic tray and plastic tweezers, because your metal trays and tweezers will also be affected by this. So there we go, some chemistry magic happening there. And once the fluid has done its job and we remove this from the fluid, we've got our base color. How cool is that? So there we go, base color applied very easily with the help of some AK metal burnishing fluid. Finishing touches on this requires some pigment, gunmetal pigment in this case, just applied to all those edges to get that metal shine. You'll recall that in video 100 I scratch built some 24-hour rations, the modern fare for British troops, for the Jackal. I decided to do the same here. Now, of course, in World War II things were quite different. Rations were canned in those days, and specifically this brand of beef stew was issued to troops. And I thought to try and recreate those cans. For this, I used cans from Value Gear, as well as some empty Vickers boxes. And you can see some really nicely detailed cans from Value Gear. And those little flat cans will work very well to recreate our World War II beef stew ration cans. The top tip, perhaps, if you want to handle really small parts, some double-sided tape and a coffee stirrer will be very handy. First step is to mix the correct shade of yellow for those cans. Those are airbrushed onto them after a coat of primer. And for the empty Vickers boxes, the base color will be wood, and for this I used wood from Vallejo Model Air, and this is also airbrushed onto those boxes. Next up, some detail painting. For this I'll be needing my Vallejo detail brush. I love these brushes from the Pro Modeler range, and I'll also be requiring my wet palette from Red Grass Games. So with my reference image close by, I started to apply first the red sections of that can, trying to match what I see in the photo from the Imperial War Museum, and then just the lettering. Now, guys, at this scale, it will really just be a string of dots. So steady hand is required. Of course, the silver top of that can, and there we go. 3 cans, and I think we're quite close to the real thing, so quite happy with that. Now, next, to get some wood grain on these boxes, I'm going to use my micro wood stencil. Guys, this is such a great tool, and very easy indeed to get some wood grain on a flat surface. Now, if you have a part with some molded in wooden detail, it's very easy to enhance that with this wash for wood from MIG Productions. For best results, use the MIG Productions thinner. Now, this is of course an enamel product, and once thinned down, this is very easy to apply to the top of that box just to bring out that wood grain. Some very nice detail from this Italeri part indeed. Now, for the rest of the stowage items, I follow pretty much the same procedure. First adding some primer and then some white pre-shading. You can see there on that can there, those flimsies from World War II. This one, the base color is olive green, and I also added some highlight and shadow tones to that rolled top, as well as these packs. An essential step, of course, is dry brushing, just to bring out that raised detail. Folks, this was also my first time using these Express Color inks from Vallejo. I know these are very popular with the miniature painters, and I can see why, because this is such a great way of applying very subtle color to your modeling detail items. You can see there a very dramatic change in color, just enriching that color on that desert yellow, and really this is something I'll need to look at again in future. I'll need to do some chipping on these Brody helmets from World War II. First step, of course, being to apply the base color green. These would have come out the factory green. And then apply some chipping medium. Now, with this applied, the next color is desert yellow. Of course, that was the color used in North Africa during the Second World War. This is applied to the helmet. And then once this is dried, I can proceed with the chipping, moistening that area and using a toothpick just to remove some paint from the top of that helmet, and using a paint marker for the brim. So lots of nice detail added to that. Now, for the rifles and submachine guns, the first step, of course, is a coat of gunmetal, and then once this is applied, the wooden base coat for the buttstocks and the grips. Now, to apply the wood grain, I decided to use oils. Now, this is a technique I haven't used much before, so I'm a bit new to this. I used dark mud from the Uptaling oil range, and then also a stippling brush with hard bristles, and then this is applied in the manner that you see on screen. Now, I'm the first one to admit that I need a little bit more practice with this, but this is certainly an effective technique, and if you're not happy, just wipe it off, try again. And keep in mind that oils do take a while to dry, so be patient when doing this. The final step is to apply some metal shine. For this I used polished metal, and I just applied this with a cotton bud, polishing that pigment into that Bren machine gun that you see right there. Some finishing touches, again applied with my AK paint markers. These are such versatile tools to have on your desk. And there we go, quite happy with that. The final step is just to seal in all that paint, matte everything down. For this I'm using ultra matte varnish from Vallejo. This is applied with a airbrush. Guys, and that's the final result. So a lot of very small fine detail work, but I'm certainly happy with these results. This is a lot of stowage, probably enough for 2 Jeeps. There's still a few items that I want to add, but I love those ration cans, also the helmets. I can't really pick favorites here, but really happy with these results. Now, just a reminder that the partner build to this is the LRDG truck from Thunder Models, and if you use the promo code Thunder, you will get a 10% discount off any of the Thunder model vehicle kits on the Supernova Studio website. Now, these are gorgeous models, guys, and do make use of this opportunity. This is it then for video 118. Guys, follow me on Instagram. I do frequent updates on all my builds there. And there's also some additional historical info and little bits of information that's a bit too much to fit into the duration of these videos. Thank you for watching.